want to see Dick though. I want
beg your
Dick
pardon?
to come.
I've heard that about you.
All right. Scary, unzip your pants. The 15-Minute Morning Show podcast. We got a full house, actually. There's Scotty B in the... There he is. There he is. I just saw Diamond for a second. Where's Diamond? Let's look at Diamond. There she is there.
Okay.
She has no idea we're talking.
Being effective as always. But back to Scotty B in the... Scotty B's in the Serial Killers podcast room.
Hi there.
Here's Gandhi and Scary.
Hi.
And there's Garrett, who brought his kid to work today.
Yep.
And there's Danielle. And here's Straight Nate, who just burped up the most god-awful banana smell.
Sorry.
Oh, my God. That was rank. And I'm your host, Elvis Duran.
Hey,
Can we check back in with Diamond one more time?
Yeah.
How's Diamond doing? There she is.
What other cameras do you have access to, Deanna? Is there any that we...
Let's see. I don't know.
Is there
If you're
anything
listening to this,
outside,
we'll
or is that
describe.
it? Nah.
There's Froggy. We see Froggy just sitting there.
Oh, there's another one. Okay.
All right, here we go. So we are back for the 15-Minute Morning Show podcast. You said you had something you wanted to kick
so
it off
today is
with?
Bring Your Kid to Work Day.
All right.
Child Garrett, you brought your son. And Scotty B, you brought your daughter.
I did.
But did we have this when I was little? I don't remember.
It was
this.
Bring Your Daughter to Work Day.
I used to go to work with my mom all the time.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Like
My
as
grandfather
a,
used to take me.
Okay, I get that you went.
I used to go,
Was
too.
it
Yeah.
a featured day
Yeah.
of the
No,
year?
not for me.
Oh, for us
I
it
didn't
was.
have it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was.
Well, you're
No, we
a
didn't.
young'un.
But Danielle's older than Nate, and she had it.
I'm pretty sure we had it because I remember
He just
my
took
grandfather
you.
taking me.
Just like
to
my
his
dad
office.
just took me. It wasn't
Oh.
a specific day.
Oh.
There was a time, like at least growing up for me, where it was Take Your Daughter to Work Day,
Yes.
and then
Right.
recently it turned into Take Your Kid to Work
Yeah,
Day.
yeah.
Got it.
Whoa, speaking
Oh,
of,
a big slew of kids just walked by.
Wow.
Take your,
Do they have anything planned for the kids here today?
not anymore.
Just
They
walk-
used to do
They used to.
activities.
they just walk them around.
Budgets have
They
been
got to
cut.
cold call clients and trying to make money.
Hey,
Elvis.
how old is Hudson?
8 years old.
Can he run down to the Warwick bar and get me a martini?
He will.
So Elvis, if you had Bring Your Kid to Work Day when you were little, what would it have been like going with your dad to work?
It depended on which of his careers he was in.
Was he the mayor at that point?
Yeah, but that wasn't a full-time job. So,
No.
What?
yeah. My mother
It was like a
my
tiny
mother was a
town.
paralegal, so I used to work at the law office she worked at.
Oh, that's cool.
What about you?
So my
Your dad drove a truck?
Yeah, so I went with him, I think once or twice in the truck, which it was a big rig, and 18-wheeler, and it was, I will say that's where I first heard swear words, was on the CB radio. Because
absolutely.
if you've ever heard truckers on
Oh,
a CB
yeah.
radio, whoo!
That's where the term "he curses like a trucker."
Yeah, yeah. Pretty, it's a tough job. And then I would go with my mom because she was a receptionist at an emergency room, and so my
Is that
job.
where you got the bite for working in the medical world?
No, that's when I fell down a flight of stairs when I was 9.
Yes.
But when I was there, I would just wait in the waiting room amongst all these people that had like thumbs severed. Seriously, that's kind of what it was like. And then at the end of the day, I would clean up the reception area for her because that's what something she.
I
had
would clean
to
up the blood and vomit.
Yeah.
For mom. Well, what about you, Gandhi?
Well, when I would go to work with my mom, I couldn't really spend a lot of time with her because she was a boss, so she always had meetings all the time, and nobody wants a little kid in there while you're having HR meetings. So she would always pawn me off on someone else, like her admin, and then the admin would just hand me files and be like, "Put these in alphabetical order," and I loved it. I felt so efficient. They were like, "Oh, you're so helpful. How about this file?
Wow,
How about
back
this pile?"
back in the day of files.
Yeah. Line them up. It was great.
What about you, Scotty?
So my mom was a school secretary at PS 200 in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. I went to school with her one day. I did a lot of standing around, and I had to make some copies and just hang around a little bit.
But she was in the school office?
She was in the school office.
Oh, so they always brought the bad students in to see the principal.
Right. So yeah. So I would see a lot of kids in transit, but then when there was a lull, I just kind of hung out. Hey, make a copy of this, whatever, because I knew how to use the copy machine. And then my dad was at Con Edison, so he took me to.
Well, tell everyone what that is, because
Con Edison is the electric company for the New York area, and it's like PSE&G for Jersey and vice versa, and so on and so forth. Anyway, so he worked in the electrical field at Farragut down in downtown Brooklyn near the Navy Yards, and I went. He worked out of a trailer because outside the trailer were these electric fields. So I was stuck in the trailer with him because it was kind of dangerous to go walking through all the electricity.
So
But
wait, so did your father do that same line of work before you were born?
Yes.
Ah, now we know where you get your personality. Years of electricity exposure with your dad.
He
Yeah.
definitely, who even knows what's going on inside his body these days?
Well, yours.
But he worked right there, and it was kind of cool to see that. And, I had fond memories.
That's nice.
But nothing really of any substance,
Garrett's mother worked for Channel 7, the ABC affiliate, did she
Right.
not?
Yep. She worked. I had a great growing up between my mom and dad. So my mom worked for ABC. She used to schedule all the commercials for the TV side, and she knew that was kind of boring for me at times. So she would just let me loose in the building. So I would go play on the set of Regis and Kathy Lee at the time.
Right.
I would have my own talk show set. I wouldn't have to pretend. I'd literally have my own talk show set to play on when they weren't recording. Then I would watch the news live. Like you would be watching it on TV, I would be behind the camera watching it, the news happen.
Cool.
That was awesome. And I think that's where I got my bug. And then on the other side, my dad was the manager of Toys R Us. So I literally would run around Toys R Us like kid in a candy store or toy store and just have my way.
Wow. Okay. So I vote. Those were two great careers.
Yeah,
to
you
me.
win.
for
You win
sure.
so far.
Oh, but it's not a competition.
What about you, Danielle?
So when I went with my grandfather, he was a real estate agent. So I remember being in his little office and like filing stuff. But he was also a train conductor. But he never took me on the train. I don't remember that because I think he might have been done with that before I was born. But my dad was a food brokerage guy. So he would go to the different stores and make sure, like, the La Choy products were where they needed to be, and like
All the Dole pineapple
Alpo.
cans.
Right. So I never went with him because he was always traveling from store to store. I don't know how often he was in the office. And then my mom had so many different jobs. She worked for a college at one point. She worked for a morgue at one point.
Wait, a
She
morgue?
Yeah, she would be in the morgue when they would do the autopsies or
What?
whatever.
Wait, I didn't
in
know
a
this.
hospital. I forget what the name of the hospital was. I don't know if it was a hospital. I don't remember. All the
You didn't go
details.
with her?
No.
What, would she
No,
be
this is
holding?
before I was born.
Would she be holding the liver or weighing a liver? Like, what did she do there?
They would tell her, "Come in. We've got a body that just came in. Come in and see whatever." I don't know. I'll have to get more details from her.
Yeah, please do.
Because I don't remember what hospital it was or whatever. But she did that. She worked with endangered birds for a while. That she had so many
Oh my
things that she
God.
did. So yeah.
Renaissance woman.
But I never went with her to work.
Scotty B, his father was a court reporter. Still is, right?
Yes. I mean, before I was born, he worked at CBS, and I would have loved to have gone there. He went to the moon launch and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a field producer, and then he got fired. But so yeah, he was
Why
a
did he
court.
get fired?
Well, it was last hired, first fired because it was layoffs.
Did he produce the filming of the moon landing?
Oh, the fake one?
Yeah.
No. But there is a picture of my mom in a bikini standing on the moon suspiciously. I'm not really sure how that happened.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
anyway,
Can I see that?
yeah. He's a court
creepy.
stenographer,
I just want to make him feel weird.
and that's the guy in the court that did that on the little machine. And I was so uninterested that anytime I would go with him in the courthouse, I would find myself where the vending machines are and trying to get people to buy stuff from me from the
Court
vending
proceedings
machine.
are so slow and methodical
Yeah.
and gross and boring.
Yeah, it is boring. And he still does it now. And now he's deaf, so I can't even imagine what he's taking down wrong now. But
Inadmissible.
A deaf stenographer.
I'm
Perfect.
fascinated by those keyboards that they use.
yeah,
How
and,
do
and I
they
mean,
work?
it's
strokes?
Yeah.
evolved so much over time. Like he used to come to my classroom when I was a kid and type the paper out and write the kids' names on the shorthand. But now it's all digital, and
That's like my mom learned
incredible.
when she was a secretary. She learned shorthand. So anytime she didn't want to see us kids to see what she was writing, she would write it. And I mean, it's like another language.
Same thing. My mother did shorthand too. So you would look at the back of a Christmas present under the tree, and it would have this little.
Yes.
I'm like, what is it? So one year I learned,
Oh, you did.
Really?
and then she had to learn how to write shithead
Yeah.
in shorthand.
I think my mom did that too. Stenographer, she said.
Yeah,
It was. Yeah.
So
My
it
mom
was-
knew shorthand as well.
That's cool.
That's-
Maybe they
nobody
come in
learned-
did. They teach that in school back then? I bet
think they
they
did.
did.
used to, yeah.
Yeah, I bet
If women
they
wanted
did.
to be in the workforce,
Yeah.
you
That's
need
how
to
you got in there.
You have to type so many words per hour on a typewriter.
Yeah, my mom would tell me stories in the 60s when she worked in a law office. She said, you ever see Mad Men, the TV show on AMC? It was just like that. Guys coming in, drunk, smoking
Really?
cigarettes, leaving for 4-hour lunches.
Wow.
She's
She goes
part
to
of the typing pool.
She was part of the typing pool. So they'd have her type up all this stuff because none of them knew how to type. None of them knew how to do anything. She would go take dictation, take
Yeah, there's
letters.
no computers, no.
Yeah, she'd be on a typewriter. And
The dictation machine was my favorite. I used to play around with that when I was a kid. That was like the first microphone I ever used because it was like a little reel-to-reel machine, and that's what they were recording.
Did you
on.
record
And then
over
he would
somebody's
type it off that.
deposition?
Yeah.
You know, my mom wanted to be a flight attendant or a stewardess back then because it was such a fancy job.
Oh, yeah.
And they all dressed up so beautifully, and they had their hats, little hats on or whatever. And back then, I don't know if you still have to, but back then you had to live with the other stewardesses.
Yeah.
Like a little campus thing.
Yeah.
And my grandfather would not let my mom do it. He put the money down for the school, found out she had to move out, and told her no. And she was not allowed to do it. Yeah.
One of my mom's friends, she was a stewardess. I guess that's what you called it back in the day. Mm-hmm. And she lived with 5 other stewardesses. Yeah. And their place got broken into, and somebody stole all of their uniforms and all that shit.
So,
Scotty, didn't your dad do something with cars and movies?
Well, I mean, not as a job, but yeah, he has like weird old cars, and they're all registered with some agency. So he does movies and weddings and commercials and stuff like that. And he gets off on that.
I'm learning so much today.
Not like that, Gandhi.
I have an idea. You know, since it's, it was the whole bring your kid to work day, I just thought of this. Why don't we do a bring your parent to work day?
God, no.
Oh, no.
I
would love my dad.
No.
Tony would friggin' light it up here.
He would.
I think we
I
should
love
bring.
Tony.
Can't we bring our parents to work?
if I rolled my parents' bodies in here, it would be kind of weird.
Oh, that's
I want to see Dick, though. I want
beg your
Dick
pardon?
to come.
I've heard that about you.
All right. Scary, unzip your pants.
How
great would it be?
that
I
one
mean,
out for years.
I mean, why can't we do that later in life? It's later in life.
You don't want that.
Bring your parent to work day.
You should do it.
Would you bring your mom and dad, Gandhi?
Absolutely not.
Yes, you have to.
With a live microphone?
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Absolutely, I'd
That'd be
love that.
so good.
We would get kicked off the air in 2 seconds. We'd have massive FCC fines. He thinks things are funny that are not funny or acceptable.
I want to hear your dad
and he
unfiltered.
cannot be contained.
With that said, we got to get out of here. Your 15-minute morning show podcast is done.
Bye.